The crew that you work with on any vessel is really crucial to the success of the operation, and we're lucky up here in Alaska to have a lot of people who spend large parts of their life at sea. The crew are typically very good at helping with creative solutions to repairing gear, and on this last expedition that I was on, one of the problems we had was that we were trying to lower my sediment sampler onto the bottom, and the bottom was a little bit too soupy, and so the gear's real heavy and it was being lowered into the bottom a little bit too far, and mud was just spooging out the top of the sampler. And so the crew designed some skis, essentially, or snowshoes we were calling them, for my sampler, just by scrounging together some pieces of plywood that they had laying around on the boat, and using some baling wire to attach them to the feet of my sampler so that it would be like snowshoes and not allow the gear to sink as far into the bottom.
If you're on a small boat cruise and there might be only 3 or 4 people on board, then you're the boat driver and the boat engineer and the cook and the scientist and the deckhand, and you might wear 5 or 6 hats in one day. If you're on a much larger vessel, you may have 3 or 4 cooks. You may have 5 or 6 people that can drive the boat.
We had an ice camp in the Arctic Ocean, very close to the North Pole. It's at 88 degrees north, so basically as far as you can get. And this ice camp lasted for about 3 weeks. It was on a 2 by 3 kilometer wide big ice floe. So I used to go skiing, cross-country skiing in the morning on this ice floe just to keep fit, and then we would try to play volleyball, which is very hard because the ball freezes, so it hurts a lot when you hit it. And we did the measurements, daily measurements from there, but we had a Norwegian helicopter pilot, and Norwegians and Swedes, we have a little feud going between us, so he tried to make our measurements harder by flying the helicopter and angling it so he could spray snow in my face while I was doing the measurement. And that was definitely interesting. There's very little wind in the Arctic in the summer. It's hardly any wind at all, but he made sure that we had some storms to deal with while we were doing measurements, even though they were helicopter made.
Luckily, I haven't been involved in the deployments of anything. I just get to hang back and wait until they come back up. But the people on the boats who are deciding how much line needs to go out, deciding what speed the boat needs to trawl at, deciding, just lining up on that very steep incline to get the exact depth that we're looking for. I mean, it's incredible how well they do it and what the success rate is. Again, it's an example of how research is a team effort, so it takes an experienced, ice-skilled captain to park a big vessel on an ice floe and keep that thing intact. And then it takes a person watching out for polar bears while you're doing your sea ice work, because you're looking down at your drill or your sampling gear and you're not looking around too much. Especially as the Sikuliaq is used by different people, they really will start to come to understand that boat and how to use things.
Having a dedicated vessel like that is that researchers can work with over and over again, and the crew can become familiar with our equipment, just makes everything work a lot more smoothly, and it'll be a nice, comfortable, stable, well-outfitted platform with all of the latest bells and whistles.
If we're trying to contract out a different boat every time we do a different type of oceanographic cruise, we have to retrain the crew. So having some consistency with the boat and knowing what's going to be there when you get on the boat is really big.